Jaron, he in one place, I'm in another.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I'm looking for mega fights right now. And right now, that's not a mega fight. So, you know what I mean? That's my standpoint on it. I'm looking to fight guys like Canelo. You know, that's pretty much it, man. And the rematch with Spence. And that's it. That's all.
Terence Crawford has reacted to Jaron Ennis calling him out for a fight. Meanwhile, Eddie Hearn has said that Crawford vs. Ennis is the best fight that can be made in boxing today. Hearn said that the fight between Crawford and Boots is without a doubt the best fight in boxing history. His goal was for Boots to unify 147 pounds before moving up to 154 pounds. He said that the move to a heavier weight class was unavoidable.
Crawford against Boots is the best fight in boxing. I mean, unquestionable. But before Boots goes to 54, I would really like to see him unify at 147, and that'll be a tough job for us, but one that you'll see tomorrow night we can deliver with a crowd like this.
This year, the British organizer made a deal with Ennis, and their first fight together will happen this Saturday night. Boots will defend his IBF welterweight world title against David Avanesian, who beat him in his last fight a year ago. He lost the fight he really wanted. With his win over Errol Spence, Crawford became the undisputed welterweight world champion, holding belts from the WBA, WBC, IBF, and WBO. Because he was the IBF interim champion at the time, Ennis had to take part in the title fight. Crawford did not want to fight the very skilled and unbeaten American challenger, which is what happened in the end. He lost the title belt. Ennis was consequently elevated and took the title of IBF champion by default. Crawford has chosen to step into a higher weight class and is set to face Uzbekistan's reigning WBA super welterweight champion Israel Madrimov in a showdown scheduled for August 3rd. Reporters were told by Hearn, who also supports Madrimov, that he thinks Madrimov has a good chance against Crawford. However, he also said that Crawford is clearly the favorite in this match.
I think that I really like Madrimov's chances against Crawford, but Crawford is obviously a big favourite.
The promoter then mentioned that they want to schedule the fight when Boots has achieved everything possible at 147 pounds. Hearn said he was surprised that Boot was able to make 147 pounds because he was only 146 pounds at the weigh-in on Friday. On top of that, he said that Boots' father and trainer, Busi Ennis, said he thinks Boots could make one for
Time you want to do it when he's achieved everything that he can achieve at 147. I've got to be honest, like being around him and seeing the size of him, I was quite surprised that he makes 147 like he does. Like the weigh-in this morning, he was 146, and Bosie was like, I actually think he could make 140. I'm like, and he.
Hearn added that Boots looked hydrated and his face showed no signs of dehydration. He mentioned that Boots thinks he can eventually move up to 168 pounds, indicating that he will likely transition to 155 pounds and then 160 pounds in the future. However, Hearn emphasized the importance of clearing up the division before making such moves. He added that while Boots has won a world championship, it would be a shame if he didn't unify the titles given his ability.
Looked dry, his face wasn't drawn in the slightest, and that was, when I look at him, he believes he can go up to 168 eventually. So I think you're going to see someone like Jaron Ennis definitely move to 54, definitely move to 60 over time. But I don't like to make the move without clearing up the division. Like, he's won a world championship, but it'd just be a shame if he didn't unify someone of his ability.
Many people want to see Terence Crawford and Jaron Ennis square off, and one trainer has backed a fighter from Nebraska. Crawford has his eyes on stepping up to super welterweight for a clash with Israel Madrimov on August 3rd. Meanwhile, Andre Rozier, trainer to Danny Jacobs, has been vocal about a possible Crawford vs. Ennis matchup. The fighter from Philadelphia is set to make his home city debut later this year after joining Eddie Hearn's Matchroom. Ennis's ultimate goal is to face Crawford, but Rozier thinks the three-weight world champion would be too strong for Ennis. Rozier said, "I got Terence Crawford at 150 for now. Boots is the only one I can see, but I'm with TC all the way. I'm with Terence Crawford all the way." Moreover, Turki Alalshik of the Saudi Royal Court stands posed to clinch the organization of the much-anticipated Terence Crawford vs. Jaron Boots Ennis bout. While boxing fans have eagerly awaited this showdown, several issues remain to be finalized in the coming months. His Excellency is break racing for major hurdles as Crawford prepares to square off against Israel Madrimov this summer. The anticipated bout is set to take place in Los Angeles, California, during the first weekend of August. Terence, already a welterweight champion, will bulk up by an additional 7 pounds to compete against Madrimov in the super welterweight division, transitioning from 147 to 154 pounds in the event of this matchup. And should Crawford uphold his flawless record, the path seems destined for a showdown with Boots despite his historical reluctance to take on Ennis yet. With Crawford's next fight in August, the possibility of him delaying his return to the ring until 2025 looms large. Turki Alalshik is eyeing another possible matchup, this time involving Saul Canelo Alvarez. Canelo might soon square off against Terence Crawford. Alvarez has his sights set on a 2024 showdown, possibly delaying a clash with Crawford this year. Nonetheless, with a limited pool of contenders, His Excellency aims to leverage the Mexican boxer's success early next year will follow the summer. More information about Crawford's next two opponents will become available.
Boots is the mandatory. He's calling you out now.
Right now in my career, a lot of people like boost this, boost that, boost this. You know, fighting Boots is a lose-lose situation. I win, they're gonna say, oh, well, he was young, he wasn't ready. You got the experience over him. You got so much more than this kid that never been tested.
As Jaron Ennis is set to lead a hometown showdown in Philadelphia this Saturday. His promoter says he has outpaced even boxing legend Mike Tyson in ticket sales for a Philadelphia fight. He has surpassed Tyson's record set during his 1995 fight against Buster Mathis Jr. with tickets already flying off the shelves. Projections say the Ennis vs. Avanesian clash could draw between 13,000 to 14,000 fans, possibly even more, surpassing Tyson's milestone of filling 10,000 seats in Philly. Mark's remarkable achievement at the IBF welterweight champion remains unfazed by this feat, directing his full attention to the upcoming bout. While pleased by the record-breaking turnout, his primary focus lies squarely on securing victory in the imminent fight, prioritizing performance over the impressive ticket sales garnered by the event. The fighter from Philadelphia had originally lined up against Cody Crowley, who later withdrew, leading to David Avanesian stepping in as his replacement. Despite the switch-in, opponent's ticket sales for the match exceeded Tyson's previous record. Following that, ahead of his fight on the upcoming Saturday, Ennis was asked how he felt about Eddie Hearn's statement that he outsold Mike Tyson. Ennis replied calmly with an innocuous smile, saying he didn't really feel any different. He stated that to him it was just another day like any other, emphasizing that it felt normal to him.
Excited, man, and I'm blessed to be able to, be here fighting at the Wells Fargo Center, and I'm glad that everybody buying tickets, even if it's late. I'm glad you're buying tickets, supporting, and don't miss, this big show on Saturday, this big knockout.
The undefeated boxer, with a record of 31-0, further stated that he was excited and felt blessed to be at the Wells Fargo Center for the event. He explained that all he was happy about was that supporters and ticket buyers from his hometown were there.
My main goal right now, I got one belt, so I'm going to, like I said, collect the rest of these belts and be undisputed at 47, and do it at 54. So that's my goal. So 47 right now is my main goal. Collect these belts, be undisputed, and
Boots has emerged as a formidable contender, showing immense promise in the ring, recognizing his potential. Eddie Hearn's Matchroom Boxing secured his deal earlier this year. Hearn hailed Ennis' addition as among his most important signings, underscoring the boxer's standout talent. Despite the attention he is getting, Ennis is focused on his goal of becoming the next unchallenged welterweight champion. In the same interview, he stated that he currently holds one belt, then emphasized his goal to collect the remaining belts at 47 pounds before moving up to do the same at 54 pounds. However, his promoter is making the even bolder promise that he may meet one of the world's top boxers.
My main goal right now, I got one belt, so I'm going to, like I said, collect the rest of these belts and be undisputed at 47, and do it at 54. So that's my goal. So 47 right now is my main goal. collect these belts, be undisputed, and then
Fans have eagerly awaited a showdown between Terence Crawford and Ennis, but has won over all challengers at 147 billion and now sets his sights on Canelo Alvarez at 168. Meanwhile, Ennis promoter Eddie Hearn advocates for a Crawford bout, seeing it as a pathway for Boot to capitalize on his former undisputed welterweight champion status. Despite moving up in weight, the British promoter stated, "We've got to get him in the fights. We've got to get him undisputed at 147. He can move up. I want to see him fight Terence Crawford. That's a fight that's been talked about, and Terence will only take the fight if it's big enough. I'll back Jaron Boots Ennis against anybody, and what a joy to be guiding this man's future." Jaron Ennis's rival David Avanesian boasts a record of 30 wins, 4 losses, and 1 draw, with 18 victories coming by knockout, having once held the IBF interim title. Ennis ascended to full champion status after former undisputed 1-for-7 champion Terence, but Crawford decided to step up and wait to chase world titles in his 4th weight division. Ennis didn't want to receive the title in this way, but he was unable to stop it right now. He's just happy to be defending the title. "I can't wait. It's a blessing to be able to fight here, and I'm ready to put on a show and look good doing it," said Ennis, who is having his first fight back in Philly in almost 6 years. He added, "Beat him up, break him down, get the stoppage, and have my fun. I feel that I am going to grow here and put on a beautiful show. I'm fighting at home, I'm comfortable. I'm on the couch with my feet up, so it's going to be a great show." Avanesian, a 35-year-old Armenian originally from Russia, wasn't the intended pick for the bout. Originally, Ennis was set to fight Cody the Crippler Crowley, but the Canadian southpaw had to withdraw due to failing a pre-fight eye exam. The opponent move doesn't really mean anything to me. We have southpaws and orthodox in camp pressure, fighters and athletes, we do everything. Ennis said Avanesian finds himself at a crucial juncture, facing perhaps his final chance to win a world title. His prior attempts have been close but unsuccessful. In 2017, Lamont Peterson barely outpointed him for the WBA welterweight championship, and more recently, Crawford halted his ambitions with a 6th-round stoppage in defense of the WBO 1-for-7 belt in December 2022. Ennis said, "We're standing on business. I'm not going to go in there looking for the finish, but I'm going to have my fun and put on a show, but I'll let the knockout come to me. It's going to be turned up in here, fireworks, it's going to be lit up, and I'm excited. You are going to see a beautiful show, and I'm going to show the world and the 147-pound class that I am the best." Avanesian will be looking to beat Ennis in this match. David Avanesian stated that he believed he was given a chance. "I got to be where he is." He acknowledged Ennis is a good fighter and expressed happiness in facing such opponents, saying that he only wants to fight good fighters. Avanesian noted his past fights, including against Crawford, as history, emphasizing that those knowledgeable about boxing remember him. He highlighted the upcoming fight as another significant chance, vowing to give his all. Notably, Boots now holds Crawford's crown following the IBF's move to strip put in November for failing to meet Ennis in a mandatory defense. This move elevated Ennis from interim champion to full title standing within the sanctioning body. Ennis told Boxing Scene, "I'm excited to get in the ring and put on a beautiful show, have fun, look good, and pick apart." Avanesian breaks him down and beats him up for the knockout to get the ball rolling. Saturday night is going to be a statement. "I'm putting 147 pounds on notice." Ennis is set for a notable comeback, stepping back into the ring after nearly a year since his last bout in July, where he delivered a decisive knockout against the formidable Romanville after 10 rounds. The 8-year career of Ennis has seen the biggest hiatus, lasting a full year. Ennis found himself on the sidelines, trying to revive his career. His legal fight against Now Boxing, formerly overseen by the late Cameron Duncan until his recent passing, began in February with a lawsuit demanding a contract release and $1 million judgment by March. A settlement was brokered, and the lawsuit was dismissed definitely, paving the way for Ennis to ink a fresh agreement with Matchroom by April. Ennis stated, "I want what is best for my career. I like how Eddie Hearn moves his players. I like the things he does and the way he treats his guys. I just went that way. I like how Eddie does the talking for me. I'm glad I got Eddie behind me. That makes a great pair." Ennis, renowned for his brevity of speech, compensates with the relentless power of his punches, regarded as one of boxing's most versatile and exceptional fighters. This switch hitter is frequently compared to a modern incarnation of the three-division champion Crawford. Ennis, though, finds himself with a bitter aftertaste upon receiving Crawford's title without a fight. When Crawford was mandated to face Ennis, his sights were set on a rematch with Errol Spence Jr., but now both fighters have charted different paths in their careers. According to Ennis, "It is what it is. It was out of my hands. I definitely didn't want to win the belt that way. I'd rather beat the man than be given his belt. There is nothing I could do about it. I would hope to fight Crawford by 25. He's at 150 for trying to get belts, and my main goal is to be an undisputed champion at 147. But in the future, yeah, I want to fight the best guys and top guys, but you see how those things went." Ennis never had the chance to face the elite names like Crawford and Spence, Manny Pacquiao, Keith Thurman, Sean Porter, Danny Garcia, Dennis Ugas, and others on his rise to the top. Now he finds himself matched against Avanesian, a strong contender known for his decisive defeat by Crawford in 2022, and for hand Josh Kelly had his first career loss in 2021. Avanesian's resume includes a win over the legendary but past his prime Sugar Shane Mosley back in 2016. Avanesian vows to destroy Ennis. Ennis appears unfazed by Avanesian with a $3.9 million purse bid. Matchroom won the rights to the Ennis Crowley bout according to IBF regulations. Ennis was supposed to receive 85% of the winnings. Ennis said, "I've been training the same way I do for everything else, just by staying in the gym, focused and headed. I'm not overthinking things and letting everything just fall into place. I'm taking my time with the hard work, that's all." Moreover, Ennis commented that he thinks David a better opponent, but Cody is tougher. He noted that Avanesian excels at applying pressure in his style, similar to his former opponent Villa, but on a smaller scale. Ennis showed confidence in facing Avanesian, saying that he doesn't worry about others and is focused on putting on a show for his fans and supporters. He stressed his commitment to being himself in the ring and feeling comfortable fighting at home, stating that everything has been going smoothly without pressure. Ennis wants to one day in for divisions and be the unchallenged champion at 47, 154, 160, and 168 pounds among the welterweight contenders having versions of the WBC titles, PBC affiliated, Imantas Stenonis and Mario Barrios, alongside top-ranked promoted Brian Norman. Ennis is focused on a possible star-making chance against a great who is looking to come out of retirement for the right fight, even as he maintains that no one is calling him out. He said, "Nothing has come across my table yet for Manny Pacquiao, and if it does, I will happily take it, but most definitely those fights against Stenonis, Barrios, and Norman are going to happen. You have to stay tuned." Trainer Stephen Edwards thinks that Jaron Ennis is not up to the fight at 147. Edwards notes a shift where notable fighters who once dominated welterweight names like Terence Crawford, Errol Spence, and Virgil Ortiz have now ascended to the 150 for pounds division. Among the current elite welterweights, Imantas Stenonis and Mario Barrios are seen as major underdogs with odds of 4-1 against Boots, who boasts an impressive record of 310 with 28 knockouts. He's heralded as the Alexander the Great of the 147B division, having apparently conquered all in his path. Ennis finds himself at a crossroads to secure the desired big fights that have eluded him at welterweight. He must consider moving up to 150 for pounds, yet both he and his promoter Eddie Hearn appear hesitant to make this leap despite their bold rhetoric revealing a surprise and lack of ambition on both fronts. Edwards said there's nobody at 147 where people can look at and go, "That guy can beat him." They're not. Errol and Bud moved up, Virgil Ortiz moved up. There's nobody at 147 that would be less than a 4-1 odds against Boots. Ennis comes out as the clear favorite when facing Barrios, Stenonis, and Brian Norman Jr. among them. Norman poses the most challenge to Ennis due to his power-punching ability, durability, and youthful vigor. Edwards added even if he faced Mario Barrios or Stenonis, Stenonis would be the closest one. Any of those guys would be a 4 or more against him. That's how powerful the eyeball test and the Vegas oddsmakers look at him. Stenonis wouldn't pose a challenge to Boots. It would likely end as a one-sided beatdown with Ennis dominating until he gets the stoppage. Fans doubt any of those champions would risk facing Ennis unless they were paid a truly life-changing sum. Tell me a guy that they can look at him, oh, he can beat him. There's not one. Is it going to be like Bud beating Errol? Heck no, said Edwards when asked if Boots Ennis would earn credit for beating Avanesian. Edwards makes a good point. There's simply no welterweight contender capable of facing Boots. That's precisely why he should consider stepping up to the 150 for PB class to take on the top dogs. If Boots wants to compete in Saudi Arabia and make substantial rewards, moving up to 150 for pounds seems like the logical next step. However, Jaron Ennis previously refuted claims that he was approached for 2 welterweight bouts against Terence Crawford in the past, but Boots asserts he'd gladly accept a showdown with Crawford if the chance came. Ennis recounts how, upon being presented with the chance to fight Crawford, he swiftly agreed only to hear nothing more about it thereafter, opting not to face Ennis. Crawford, a native of Nebraska, instead squared off against David Avanesian in December 2022 in his own hometown of Omaha. Boots found himself perplexed by the situation, yet the message seemed unequivocal. Crawford refused to interact with the rising star, a terror in the 147B division, looking unbeatable. Facing Boots at Crawford's current stage could spell disaster for his career prospects, especially with a potential mega payday against Canelo Alvarez looming on the horizon for early 2025.
Exactly. Nobody. What 2 opportunities I had to fight him?
Yeah.
When he fought he's for Avanesian too,
Yeah.
but I think he was in the middle of doing something with Errol at the time.
Yes.
And at that time, we all thought he was fighting Errol.
Yeah.
So we all everybody waiting around. The whole welterweight division was waiting around to see what he was going to do. And he popped up out of nowhere fighting David Ennis in December or something like that. People don't realize I didn't get the opportunity to fight for the IBF interim until after he made his decision. We was waiting.
Right.
We was waiting to see what he was going to do.
Ennis explained that he had 2 chances to fight Crawford, but Crawford chose Avanesian instead of him. He emphasized that he would take any chance presented to him, questioning why he wouldn't. Ennis mentioned that when Crawford finally asked if they wanted to fight, they agreed but then heard nothing further about it. He stated his eagerness to face Crawford, highlighting it as a fight everyone wants to see and something he personally desires.
They said I seen somebody saying that I went a different route or something like that.
Yeah.
I only went that route because he chose Avanesian. He could have clearly picked me.
Yeah.
I think Ortiz was one. It was me, and then I think it might have been Avanesian, or Avanesian might have been 4 or 5 or something like that.
It was like 5. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, that's who he chose. So you can't blame me.
Right.
I get a call, of course I'm gonna take it.
Yeah.
Why would I not?
Crawford defeated Spence in July of last year, so it goes without saying that he wouldn't have left the welterweight class quickly if he had wanted to meet Boots Ennis before going up to junior middleweight. Crawford would have made it a point to defend his 4 belts against Boots Ennis, and you can see why he didn't. Crawford finds himself in a tough battle with Tim Bradley, highlighting major concerns. It's clear Crawford has reason to feel uneasy. A colossal payday awaits him if he can beat Israel Madrimov, the reigning WBA junior middleweight champion, on August 3rd. A win in this bout would secure his shot at facing Alvarez next year, according to boxing commentator Tim Bradley. Terence Crawford should take on Jaron Ennis to show to the supporters that he is not intimidated by the teenage sensation. He said, "You got Boots, that's a good fight. I think it's a doable fight. It takes care of a lot of the banter of you haven't faced anybody that Crawford faces on a day-to-day basis." Crawford versus Ennis is a winnable bout for either boxer. Terence has spent a year out of the ring celebrating his win over Errol Spence Jr. in July last year, and he's now a bit older. Boots is younger and physically stronger than Crawford. A match against him would likely see Crawford suffer more punishment than ever before, and he may not be prepared for it. Bradley said, "Fight Boots, the guy that's up and cunning, the guy that everybody thinks is the next coming of you. Crawford, you beat him, and you add more to your reputation. I think Crawford should finally, if he's going to stay in the game any longer, visit Boots. If Crawford hadn't been offered the Canelo fight, he likely would have still avoided Boots and went up to 154, a safer move for an aging fighter. As you get older, Facing a young lion like Boots could risk wrecking your PPV prospects, especially after just hitting that level with Spence's support. According to Bradley, Boots hasn't had the chance to show his greatness because no one has given him that opportunity. That's not his fault, and nobody wants to fight him because they know he's that good, including Crawford. Crawford, like many other fighters, is dodging a showdown with Boots. Ennis, acknowledging his formidable skills, has shifted to the 10,050 for pounds weight class, aiming to leverage Matchroom as a stepping stone. However, even this plan might not pan out as he may have been left with little choice: face Matchroom or miss out on the chance to fight Canelo altogether. Bradley said, "Boots is calling you. Boots is saying, I want that beating. Please give it to me. Let's make it happen." Crawford has yet to do anything about it. He's like, casual, I've got bigger fish to fry. I get it because Crawford is at the end of his career, but that would be a damn good fight. Make sure to check out some of our other videos on the screen if you liked this one.